Hello everyone and welcome back to another video on the channel. Today I'm going to be going through my FPL Game Week 1 team, the 25-26 season. I thought I'd do this because last season I finished 510th overall in the world, 11 million, so as that's better than any of the FPL YouTubers out there, I thought I'd give it a go, you know, if you're interested, because this is the definitive best team you can start the season with, probably not. So, starting off with the two goalkeeper spots, and yeah, I'm sure it's probably a bit template, bit basic. I've gone for Sanchez and Dubravka. Starting off with Dubravka, I'm sure he's 75% at the moment, probably won't play the first game, but he's still got a much better chance over the season than any other 4 million goalkeeper. Really, if you haven't got him as your second choice, you know, I don't know why not, because he's almost definitely going to get that number one shot. As for Sanchez, I think he's definitely the best way into that Chelsea defence, and I want a piece of that because I think they are going to be pretty solid. I don't like Cucurella because I just think he's too much. 6 million is a lot for defenders, especially this season, as we'll get onto. There's a lot of good defenders around that price, and yeah, none of the other ones really speak out to me. Though Cole is injured, so that might make the Chelsea defence a little bit less solid, I still think there's not a lot of top goalkeeper options this year, so I think Sanchez is a good option. Moving into defence, and I think this is probably the most difficult area of the pitch to sort out. I think midfield and attack, there's a few options that you're definite, and then other than that, you've got to tinker a bit, but defence I think is probably the toughest one, and I'm really not set on this yet. So all of this could and almost definitely will change. So I've gone for Pedro Porro, Ibrahim Konate, Milenkovic, Anderson, and Esteve. So starting off with Pedro Porro, I was on Van de Ven for a while, and although he's $1 million cheaper, so that can help you improve in other areas of the pitch, I just think especially last night in the Super Cup, he's so much better, and although Van de Ven will get those defensive contributions, Pedro Porro going forward will be so unstoppable. I think he'll get a lot of points from attacking areas. Last night we saw him playing as a proper wing back, getting really high up, and I'm excited to see how he performs under Thomas Frank. So I think he's honestly one of the first names on my team because yeah, I think he's going to be pretty good this season. Next, I've got Konate, and this is the first time he's been in my team. I literally put him in 2 minutes before I started recording because I switched. You'll see in midfield, but I had to get some more money, and I switched him from Van Dijk to Konate because I was honestly thinking I've had Van Dijk in since the game launched because I wanted a piece of that Liverpool defence, and I think Frimpong and Kerkez are a little bit unreliable in terms of minutes. I know Bradley's injured, but still he's going to come back at some point. I don't know if Frimpong will get 90 minutes every game. And I was honestly asking myself, is Van Dijk worth the 0.5 million more than Konate? And I just don't know if he is, because there's very few games that Konate won't play. You know, last season he played near enough every single game, 90 or near enough too. So, and add to that, I think aerially he's almost just as good a threat as Van Dijk. So sure, Van Dijk's the big name, he's the captain, so he's the one that more people are going for, but I actually think Konate, only 2% ownership, could be a little steal, especially when he gets his goal contributions. That's going to help my rank even more than if Van Dijk did. So yeah, then another 5.5. So all three of my starting ones this week are 5.5 million defenders, and I've gone for Milenkovic of Nottingham Forest. Murillo's also 5.5 at Forest, so he was another option that I was thinking about, but for me, I think Milenkovic has that defensive contribution and attacking contribution ability, especially against a team like Arsenal, which he's got in the opening 5 fixtures, I think. So I think I would rather start him over someone like Murillo. And then I was also on Williams for a while, Nico Williams from Forest. Given that they are in Europe this season, I think we're going to see rotation, and Milenkovic I think will be one of the first names on the team sheet in the Premier League, whereas Williams I can definitely see him getting rotated. So I've gone for Milenkovic just for a more security of minutes. I don't want to have to deal with those headaches later down the line. So yeah, on the bench, Anderson at 4.5. I think there's a lot of good 4.5 options. Yeah, I nearly went for a few, Richards and Gay at Crystal Palace, but I didn't go for them because I think their opening fixtures are really tough. I will bring in one of them, potentially Munoz, later on down the line because they got some good fixtures coming up, but for the first 4 I think pretty tough. So De Cooper, I think that's what you say, at Brighton is also an interesting one. He seems to be having a good start in pre-season, but a bit of an unknown quantity for me, so I went for the safe option, if you like, with Anderson. West Ham also have some good 4.5s, but yeah, I think Anderson. And then Esteve, obviously a 4 mil, he'll be on the bench most weeks, although next week I could think about playing him. He's got Sunderland at home, so an interesting option there. I've also got Dubravka though, so it's a double up and Burnley defence, which I'm not crazy about, but obviously neither of them are going to be playing most weeks. But yeah, a solid 4 million option who's going to play pretty much every week. Moving on to the midfield then, Mo Salah, obviously. Yeah, I think I've actually seen quite a lot of people going without Salah this season, which for me is mental because every season people do this, and every season it's just like, oh, he's going to fall off a bit. No, he just never does. It's Salah. Look, he's the king of the Premier League. He will be for as long as he's here. Just got to suck it up. You're not right. He's the best player in the league. He's gonna score incredible goals again. So he's in, he's captain. He's going to be captain pretty much every week of the AFCON. So yeah, I've then gone for Anderson of Forest, so another Forest player. And I think he's really great value, Anderson. That's Forest's good opening fixtures. I think that Anderson's a pretty good valued player. And he's another one that I've had in since the start, and I've just kind of not even thought about taking him out. Then I've got Cole Palmer in there, and I think Chelsea are going to score a lot of goals this season, and Cole Palmer is someone that I just want in my team, probably for the whole season. I don't see taking him out. I think Cole Palmer's a lock for me. Then I've gone for maybe the most, I say differential is actually quite highly owned, but maybe the most risky player, because obviously Pep Roulette is always a thing with City. I've gone for Reinders, and again, he is cheap, and I needed to open up some money. For a while I had Iliman and Jai because he was on penalties, but with the additions of Grealish and Dewsbury Hall, I think there's going to be a decrease in minutes for him, and also potentially loss of set pieces. I don't know, but I've gone for Reinders. It could be after game week 2 he's not playing as much. Yeah, sure, then I might have to look at taking him out, but he has started all the important games at the Club World Cup, which makes me think he will be a pretty key starter, especially with Rodri out at the start of the season. Short attacking contributions may be hard to come by, but I do actually believe that he's going to be pretty good going forward, and I can see him getting on the score sheet a few times. So Reinders is definitely one that may change from now to the deadline, but at the moment I've got him in. I do like Dewsbury Hall at Everton as well, but again, I think minutes could be a risk and attacking contributions hard to come by. Finishing off, I have got Bruno Fernandes, and that's the one that I downgraded Van Dijk to Konate to get the 0.5 to upgrade Wirtz to Fernandes. I think that final spot, most people have got either Wirtz or Fernandes. Marmoush is someone else that I'm quite tempted by, but I think 8.5 is a lot for someone who you're questioning if every week they're going to start. So I've gone for Fernandes over Wirtz. A few reasons for that. I think they've got better opening fixtures despite their first one being pretty tough. Burnley at home in game week 3, I think it is, when Salah also has a tough fixture. So captaincy could definitely be an option for Bruno. Of course, he's on all set pieces. That's always a good thing. I'm looking to get as many penalty takers as possible in my team. But yeah, I think Bruno's a brilliant option. Then moving on to the strikers, João Pedro and Ollie Watkins is who I've got in. So Ollie Watkins is pretty much a lock. I think Watkins is the best striker other than Haaland in the game this year, and Haaland for me, I think 40 million is just too much for him. So yeah, Watkins been a nail pretty much since the start, really. I like him as an FPL asset every year, and particularly this year, because I think there's like lack of good strikers around that price range with Isak, you know, uncertainty around him. He should be on penalties as well, hopefully, so that's another positive with him. And overall, I see him having another high scoring season like he did last season and the season before. Lots of goals, lots of assists. That's why he's in my front line. And then I've got João Pedro, who is definitely not a lock. There's a lot of 7.5 million forwards. People like Solanke, who should be on penalties as well, which João Pedro doesn't have. I'm looking at, and also Mateta. Chris Wood's also a maybe. I think it's really between those three: João Pedro, Dominic Solanke, and Jean-Philippe Mateta. I've gone for João Pedro because of the opening fixtures. Like I said with Cole Palmer, I think Chelsea are going to score a lot of goals this season, and João Pedro's opening 3 fixtures are really, really good. I see him scoring a lot. I very well might switch to Mateta after game week 4, because then Crystal Palace fixtures get really good and Chelsea's get a bit tougher, which begs the question, why don't I just start with Mateta? But I just think Chelsea's opening fixtures are too good to turn down for João Pedro. Then on the bench as well, for my third forward, I've got Marc Guéhi, which most people do have because he's 4.5 and he's most likely to start out of any of the 4.5 million forwards. But again, I don't really see a world where I play him any week of the season. So, but when I do eventually bench boost, he's on there and he should play. Okay, so now I'm just here in FPL Hub. This is not a sponsorship, by the way. It's just one of the best tools to look at this kind of thing. So I'm going to just show you which spots could be changing. So I think Sanchez is a pretty good lock. Pedro Porro, I could see maybe around game week 4 moving him on to Munoz because Palace's fixtures get really good. Milenkovic is a pretty good lock, and I think Konate, honestly, like I said earlier, Van Dijk and Konate, I don't think there's much difference, so I think that's a good option. Bruno, so this is an option I could do. Fernandes to Wirtz, then I have 0.5 more in the bank, and I could look at upgrading someone like Reinders, but to be honest, I think midfielders 5.5 are good and 6.5 are good, but I don't think there's that many 6 million midfielders this season. I mean, Jorginho Ruta is actually an interesting option, but yeah, I don't think there's that many. So like I said, I think Bruno's a much better option, so I'm pretty happy with that. But another option is that I do Reinders to Dewsbury Hall, that frees up 0.5 as well, which I could look to do something like Konate up to Van Dijk, or I don't know, anything else that I need to upgrade, but yeah, I think Reinders is probably better. These two do worry me slightly, Reinders and Anderson, but I think I'm happy to trust them to start. And then, yeah, like I said, João Pedro, if we look at these fixtures, game week 4, Brentford away is a tough fixture, United away, not that tough, Brighton at home, and then Liverpool. That's a pretty tough few fixtures. And then on the other hand, if we look at someone like Arteta, for the same price, game week 4, he's got Sunderland at home, West Ham, Liverpool's tough, but then Everton, so that's a good, other than Liverpool, a good run of 4, where Pedro struggles. So I don't mind that. Like I said, I would rather start the season with João Pedro. Then the other option there is, not João Pedro, the other option there is Solanke. Starts the season with a really nice fixture, Burnley at home, should be on penalties, and his only real tough fixture in those opening 7 is Man City away, and we know that Spurs normally beat City, so I don't hate Solanke as an option, but I'm gonna go with João Pedro. So yeah, that's the team that I'm gonna be starting the season with. All of this could change in the next few hours before the deadline. Let me know who you're going for. Let me know what you change about my team. Oh, and we can check what my rating is as well. It is 97.95. You can see as well that the defense I picked rotates really nicely, which is why I picked it. But yeah, thank you for watching. If you did enjoy, please do like and subscribe. Good luck with the upcoming FPL season. I hope you win your mini leagues. Let's get, no, that's what I said at the start. Goodbye. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.